So Mau Mau and company almost died this week through basically carbon monoxide poisoning, which is one hell of a way to go given the turbulence of the political climate in this show. But there was legitimately spooky moments. Now, the thing is when you say, hey, here's 13 ghost stories, right? Whatever. And most of them, from what we hear brief snippets of, probably sound like they're boring as hell. And then there's one that was, a little more interesting. It's like, oh, family probably got poisoned by mushrooms and, they thought it was some evil spirit sucking their soul out. But still, probably better than what they heard. And then they actually legitimately get into pure nightmare fuel with this monk having to do a sutra as this chainsaw massacre level opponent swinging shit around. Gotta admit, that was pretty spooky, only for it to be like, wait a second. The woman who was doing the 13th story wasn't real? I get we were all probably a little delirious, so that could explain why we imagined someone there. But, the fuck? This was a good episode. This was different. And I gotta admit, probably one of the only episodes of the Apothecary Diaries that you could just randomly show someone who has no knowledge of the show and probably get them hooked, because it's a very much it's a story structured show. You can't really jump in random willy-nilly, but an episode like this just is so self-contained. Of course, I assume it relates bigger down the line, but you could just watch this episode by itself and have a great time. And honestly, really fresh and different take for the Apothecary Diaries by far. Now, of course, if you want to support my work, see my full thoughts on the episodes, we do got the Patreon, full and cut live reactions available exclusively over there if you're so interested. So we had a couple of pretty intense episodes as of late, and to be honest, I was expecting them to maybe chill it a bit, temper it down a little bit, and then they show me the monk one, and I'm like, oh, okay. The animation, as quick as it was when that monster came into the room and swinging around his giant-ass blade, like, what in Silent Hill is that? I don't know. As soon as that man approached the door and the wife's like, hey, like, come on in, we'll support you. I'm like, okay, one of two things. The monk is gonna kill a bunch of people, or the husband's gonna kill a bunch of people, right? I don't know what in seven hells they were dealing with night after night, but there was some hungry evil spirit, and this monk's out here being like, I don't have money. I don't have any way to repay them, but what I can do is bless their home, do a sutra. And I'm like, hey, I'm not a religious man, but hey, that's a kind gesture, right? Like, what a nice guy trying to repay his debts. And I love how he starts hearing, like, rumblings outside, and when that thing approaches, all I'm saying is, you keep on suturing, my boy, don't you stop until the cows come home. The best part, too, is they say in the story that as he left the building, right, he kept doing it all the way out of the forest. That is a smart character. There's a lot of dumb characters when it comes to, like, horror movies or whatever. Often it's white women. They just don't know where to run. But to be honest, white people in general in horror movies are pretty bad. So it's great to see the Japanese monk over here being like, nope, everything looks clear. Let's drop my guard. Nope, he's like, I'm praying till I get out of this forest. Brilliant guy, but that shit was spooky. It's also, I like what's really clever about it is while they give you like the jump scare of this maniac coming in trying to kill him, they also don't show what happens after. They say all that was there was insect wings. No idea what that means, but that's pretty freaking spooky. And it's just like, it was a really good episode because the thing about Apothecary Diaries is whenever they show you something, there's a high probability it means something down the line. So when they first start talking about how there was like this green glow and, blah, 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 I'm like, okay, it's dragonflies or something like that, like it's going to be something. Turns out there's a certain type of mushroom that glows in the moonlight. So that explains that. Similar to how later in the episode, they're like, oh my God, there's like this flying orange blob. It's someone's torch, right? Like come on now, like, it's not crazy. But why would they die? Well, they probably ate poisonous mushrooms. And I like, too, how they confirm that while they're poisonous, it probably wouldn't kill you if you had other shit in your system, but a starving mother and child who has no food in their belly, all you have is to absorb poison. So yeah, it's probably gonna kill you. And I like how those stories are like, okay, like, those are some legitimately good ones, but like, what's the point of this? Other than the fact that they don't have TV, reading and stuff isn't the most common knowledge as it stands, even if the Emperor is trying to educate the general public. So the idea of sharing ghost stories is an interesting way to kind of get a thrill and some entertainment in your life. And I like how, because all the windows are shut, you're burning wood. You're burning, you know, it's not even like they were burning something that was intentionally trying to set them off into like this hallucinogenic state of mind. They were simply being killed by carbon monoxide poisoning. And I like how she realizes it and, you know, obviously opens it up. And I think what's clever about the whole episode is despite how unsupernatural the show is at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure collectively they all realized there was a 13th person there. Now, it could all just be because they're all spooked out of their mind and, you know, they're talking about 13 things, but there's only 12 of them there. But still, it's an interesting thing, and obviously how it ties to how, you know, the previous emperor, he liked them young and how he ruined their innocence and purity, and how, yeah, like, if there was ghosts, there would definitely be haunting the halls of this place given the bullshit that did happen. All in all, amazing episode. There's some funny moments, of course, before it got into the spooky territory, and, you know, I think one of my favorites would probably be the fact that Mau Mau lives in a shed, and they're desperately trying to get her out of a shed, or at least clean it up. And she's like hissing like a cat saying, "Don't you dare, that is my nest," and she loves it. It's funny because you bring in 3 sisters, right? They all look identical. Like the one's slightly taller than the other 2, but they look identical. They're not wearing anything to distinguish each other, and it's not until Mau Mau can't tell them apart that they're like, we'll color our hair differently, like with a ribbon or something. I'm like, yeah, you should have been doing that your whole life. How the hell is anyone gonna know who you are? Let's be honest. But I like it because Mau Mau's position is one that is considered respectful. So the fact that she's living in a shed to them is like, wait, are we gonna get punished if we do something bad? Is she being punished? Is this normal? Like, nothing about that dynamic seems normal, but once they start to understand that Mau Mau is an anomaly, things will start to make sense. I'm not sure if we're building into frenemies, enemies, rivals, or just straight up friend dynamics, because in general, this household is pretty damn good. But it'll be interesting to see what it means going forward. But they did a good job. The structure of the episode felt right. The episode flew by. And the ghost stories were legitimately spooky. The only way it could have been better is if this episode aired in October in the Halloween season. But honestly, one of my, I think, favorite spooky episodes I've seen in recent memory. And honestly, when it gets to the Halloween season, I'd probably pop this one on just for some thrills. I really enjoyed it. But Mau Mau and Company almost died. Jesus, rip bozos. Of all the ways they could have gone, campfire burning in a closed room. Who would have saw it coming? Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. What did you think, and what was your favorite spooky story? I definitely like that Silent Hill looking character, but that's just me. Let me know yours. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, for live reactions over on Patreon, and AYOO over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got A. Barrett, Kyle Call, Austin Fernand, Rookie, Omega Alpha 83, Winter Naomi Vera, Matter Creator, Aracito, Alexin Free, Crizzle Wiper, Connor Reeves, and we also have TMG Gaming at 999. I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. You'll have a good one.